What's the cruelest prank you've ever seen? U/Britastic UK. A friend of a friend in high school had her boyfriend pretend that he'd died. He had one of his friends call her saying he had died in a car accident and had someone else calling up pretending to be a doctor from the hospital. She was hysterical. Later that day, after she kept asking the fake doctor which hospital it was so she could be there, she found out it was all prank to see if she cared. Horrible. Anyway, they broke up. To this day it's the nastiest prank I've seen in person. U/Fit Investigator 6740. A group of girls at my high school told a girl that they were hanging out at one of their houses at 9 near a train station. But they really just made up a time and place that would make her stranded at the last train stop, with no more trains home. U/None. Deleted. U/Binarisal 0. Saw a guy tip over the porta potty with someone in it. That memory is clear. I think it was his GF. U/Tiny_parfait. A friend of mine faked her suicide to get back at her boyfriend for April Fool's Day. I had helped her without knowing she was going that far. Her boyfriend had called her a slut and dumped her when she told him she was pregnant. Don't miss living in college dorms. Don't miss either of them. U/NBFoxC 137. Someone asked a guy to be her boyfriend. He said yes, and the next day she invited all her friends to tell him that she did it as a joke. U/Boop. The Daddy05 YouTuber, pranks. Those weren't pranks, they were child abuse. U/ICA song. Any prank involving pretending to ask someone on a date that I witnessed in my youth group. It was pretty common. Everyone had it happen at least once. And it happened to me twice, but both times I found the guy repulsive and told them so. U/Cold-shoulder. In college. At the end of the year, a club I was in had a roast of the outgoing seniors. My friend running the roast couldn't come up with anything for one of the guys. Let's call him Ben. To drum up ideas, he called a bunch of Ben's close friends, also in the club, and asked them for things to make fun of Ben about. Thinking this was a confidential conversation, they proceed to absolutely lay into Ben. The guy is seriously lame. Honestly. When I'm talking to a girl and he is there, it is supremely awkward. My friend simply recorded that whole conversation and played it outright for Ben's section of the roast, mortifying Ben and all his friends simultaneously. U/Hobo_clown. Friend of mine had a crush on his coworker. It was sort of an open secret. His manager tried to help him. Offered advice. Some things to say. Small gifts she might be into. Etc. What no one knew at the time was that said manager and said coworker had recently started dating. And hadn't told anyone yet. So he meant it as a prank on his new girlfriend to be put into these awkward situations. But my friend's feelings were really hurt when it all came out. U/Caffeine and vodka. I remember when the ALS challenge was popular, I read an article about a prank played on a special needs high schooler. These kids told him it was just water in the bucket. But it was also piss, cigarette butts, all sorts of disgusting shit. Then they put the video all over the internet. As though the bucket wasn't enough. U/Mr. Sprinkles 3. In 6th grade, one opened my locker and a note from the boy I had a crush on fell out saying he liked me too. A bunch of girls in my grade were there when I found it and were super happy for me. Or I thought they were. When I went to the boy to ask him about it, he said he didn't write it, and the group of girls who were there when I found the note had written it. I turned around and sure enough they're laughing. But it crushed me. Not that the boy didn't like me back, but because I didn't think these girls I'd gone to school with since first grade were that mean. A couple weeks later, the group played a similar joke on one of the girls who was actually in on their prank against me. And I got a genuine apology from her after she realized how bad I must have felt. None of the other girls ever apologized. U/Slevinkelevra 710. When I was a kid, somehow my classmates found it funny to piss in other people's cans of soda. I did not have a good childhood. U/possible_shift_4747. Killing a farmer's cow is some sick joke. The cow was not a meat cow either, it was the farmer's beloved pet, and he pet it and fed it and played with the friendly cow each and every day. The farmer sued the kids who killed the cow, and he $70,000 won and $20K for emotional upset. Stay winning kings. The cow was an old bull. It was the most friendly cow I have ever seen. It was not even neutered and had really big horns and loved sitting next to the farmer and just graze next to him. Edit. The kids did not necessarily kill the cow, but forced the old bull to walk upstairs. Cows can walk upstairs, but their anatomy is not built for it, and it's extremely painful for them to do so. The old bull broke its front left leg and bellowed in pain for 10 minutes. The farmer had no choice but to shoot and kill his own pet that he has had for the last 8 years. Right then and there on the stairs. The kids pled not guilty in court, but they were forced to pay for it all. The bull was a Texas Longhorn. Common in some areas but rare where we both lived. It was really sad to see the bull gone from the farm. I was neighbors with the farmer, and he would always invite me over to play with the animals and feed him and everything. U/depressed pastel. I don't know the person. And yet everybody knows the kid. But at my school, he'd unscrew the razors of handheld pencil sharpeners and then try to discreetly cut people's forearms and legs. What he'd been trying to accomplish is, and this is just twisted, make the people's parents think they'd be cutting themselves. Whenever the victim went to try and tell the teachers, they'd think the same thing. Shit went down when the person he'd been constantly targeting beat the shit out of him. Victim was put to UV. He got out practically free. And now he uses needles to poke holes into people. He's not a phlebotomist. Or tattooist. Last I heard from high school. Incidents like the same happened. But with needles. Though, he's been way more discreet about it. Nobody knows who's doing it. Other than me. U/totally tired mom. This happened to me. 7th grade during Valentine's Day we had candygrams and cutesy stuff we could send to our friends. And obviously middle schoolers are sending them to their crushes. They would receive these candygrams during a class period as someone came by dropping them off. You could write a little message and then who it's from. I got one from this guy, friend I liked, and went up to him the next period and brought it up and said it was really cute and thanks. He looked a little confused but was like, no problem. Quote, I felt kind of dumb after that and walked away. Just to find out the next day that it was one of my friends who sent it to me and just put his name on it to make it seem like it was him. I mean, at least he was nice enough to go along with it because he was just as confused. Kaihawang. My ex-friend thought it was a funny prank to kill my brother's hamster and tie it up and dress it in ridiculous ways. Jedi_among_Sith. My brother gave my phone number to some rando, who proceeded to call me at all hours and threatened to rape me. Bill Bar Parker. In middle school, a girl came up to us on the playground and told this dude to go see the principal. He's looking for you. He got a call that your mom died. Then as soon as the dude ran away, she told us all she just made it up. It was fucking horrible. Bloodrage Dragon. Happened to me. Was at my first school dance in middle school. Was always the shy kid. So I was surprised when one of the popular chicks came to ask me to dance. I said no because I was shy. But I was elated that I got asked. A few minutes later I'm in the bathroom stall and a few kids come in and start talking about how they paid her $10 to ask me. And if I said yes, she would have just tripped me and made me look dumb. I never went to another dance all throughout middle and high school. Even prom. Gesetseren. My friend stole my brand new set of Copics and switched all the caps. It ruined some of the markers because of color bleeding. I retaliated by dumping glitter in his backpack. An entire little container. Needless to say, we don't talk anymore. Edit. Thank you for the wholesome award. But also why? Edit 2 BC. I just remembered another detail. He switched the caps the first time. The second time, he switched caps. And even some of the tips. Best part? A teacher watched him do it. And said nothing. Though, she did warn him I would definitely get revenge. Well, I ended up with a referral for that glitter, and when talking to the principal, I told her what he'd done, adding in that he also stole my schoolid for more than 2 days. And he got a referral too. Our detention together was *amazing. Also forgot to mention he sexually harassed me a couple times. BC I'm gay and he thinks that's hot. Anyways SS. U/B0T_Frank. Saw a kid at high school cafeteria spend 20 minutes removing seeds from jalapenos and chopping up the seeds until he had a handful. He walked over to a different table and threw the handful of sliced up seeds into the eyes, face of another kid. U/little_hobbit. Seen a video of 2 small girls. One told the other to look at the doorknob really close as it distorts your face. She then slammed the door right into her face, hitting her teeth. U/hysterical_realist. I just got pregnant. Aren't you happy for me? Quote. Said on April 1 in front of a woman who had a stillbirth a month before. U/the_patriot. When they gave that raccoon the cotton candy. Bastards. U/obnoxious_scam. I used to work on tugboats. Some deckhand brought a bottle of liquid ass spray aboard. Said deckhand proceeded to use said spray. Try as we might, we couldn't seem to get rid of the smell. 5 guys. 3 months. A tugboat bathed in liquid ass. I do not miss that job. U/Kotori 425. I don't have a specific example in my life. But I've always thought those fake lottery tickets are cruel. Those people think their life is going to change. And then it's all yanked away from them while people laugh. Same energy as when a parent gifts their kids something in the box for an iPad, Switch, something expensive and fancy. But it's really something shitty and lame inside. The entire joke is, haha, you thought your dreams were coming true. But asterisk then they didn't. Asterisk look at us. A bunch of kidders. To toy with your emotions like that. Quote dot. U slash Eralt underscore. I remember years ago I saw a prank on YouTube gather attention for being genuinely cruel. These guys kidnapped their friend in black outfit, ski mask setups, tying his hands and feet, blocking his eyes, and throwing him in a car. They then took him to a rooftop and tied him to a chair and were talking about the ways they were going to torture and eventually kill him. They'd be bringing up personal things as well to freak him out even more. The guy was genuinely fucking terrified. You could tell. The bawling, babbling kind of panic attack. Of course his friends then untied him and revealed themselves saying it was a prank, but they did the damage and the guy wanted nothing to do with them. Who fucking would? U slash JP1426. When I was in 8th grade a thing called turtling and zip-tying backpacks were popular. Well, one day early in the year on the bus ride home a kid decided to zip-tie a 6th grader's backpack to the leg of the chair which is welded to the floor. When he got up to leave and realized his backpack was stuck, he started panicking trying to get it undone and eventually had to leave the backpack, and he was stressing out saying his mom was going to freak out on him. He looked like he was about to cry. U slash Prince underscore Edward underscore IV. In high school one of the cutest girls in my grade came up to me and told me she had a crush on me and wanted to go out on a date. I was skeptical because no one had ever asked me out before. But I was growing into my body pretty well and definitely more attractive than I was as an early teen, so I just figured puberty was doing some good work for me. We were 16/17 and had both just got our licenses, so she said she'd meet me at the movie theater and we'd go have dinner after the movie. I told my mom and she got all excited and helped me pick out an outfit and took pictures of me before my first ever date. Cringe AF, but you know how it goes. I went and got a haircut and my car detailed so it'd be rolling fresh. You know. And believe me, I was looking tasty. Fresh shave. Hair edged up sharp enough to cut glass. I was dripped out before the phrase even existed. So I show up at the theater a couple minutes early and am waiting for her, and after like 15 minutes I think maybe I'll call her to make sure she didn't like have an emergency come up or something. We didn't have texting back then. So I call her and she answers on speakerphone and like 5 other girls are all laughing at me, saying things like, ha ha ha, he actually showed up. So yeah, it was all just a prank to hurt my feelings, jokes on me I guess. U slash Blart underscore Institute. A group of friends got together and one of the usuals, let's call him Eddie, didn't make it. Eddie texts asking what they're up to and they sarcastically respond, celebrating your birthday without you. Lo and behold, it was coincidentally Eddie's birthday weekend and he had no birthday plans. Upon realizing this, the group bought and decorated a cake that read, "Happy Birthday Eddie," and staged a series of fake birthday party photos to make him think they forgot to invite him to his own party. To keep the prank going, they dropped off the smashed, leftover cake on his doorstep. He still hasn't found out, so they keep making elaborate stories as to why they forgot to invite him. Edit. Spelling. Also, this isn't my squad and I don't know Eddie, so this is all word of mouth, but last I heard, it's unclear if he knows of the situation and the group paid him back with a block of expensive cheese in his mailbox marked, "Happy Birthday Eddie." U U/fallen_penguin. Catfishing seems like it can be pretty damaging to young people. U/Maya4. As a school prank, the neighboring high school adopted a bloodhound our school's mascot killed and left it on the ground in front of the school. Their only punishment was cancelling prom. U/Sned I was once prank called by someone. A classmate presumably. And they told me they were going to kill my best friend who was in the same class as me. It was really fucking weird. The school never figured out who it was. They just asked if my friend had any enemies. Bro. We are 11. U/none. Deleted. U/Mary Kate 11. At my school we used to do senior pranks. They were all approved by the teachers and were good fun. Well, a separate group of seniors wanted to do a second prank. And they ended up setting off a smoke bomb in the cafeteria. The whole cafeteria had to be evacuated. No more senior pranks for us. U/Informal Talk 9487. It was at a company Christmas party. We all participated in gift exchange. Well, a fellow employee gifted fake scratch-off lotto tickets to another employee. She scratched them and legit thought she 10,000 won. She was screaming and crying with joy. Single mom, so you can imagine. She started calling her family, tell the good news, and then she's telling everyone drinks are on me. Eventually, the gifter came clean with the news that they were fake. And then she had a nervous breakdown. It was really sad. Her brother eventually came to pick her up from the party. Designated driver. And he beat the shit out of the other employee who gave the gift. I never attended another Christmas party ever again. Too much drama and something always goes wrong, or people can't handle themselves and then they start hooking up with each other. It's just a rule I have now. U/Husker_boy03. Had a girl messaging me some lyrics to a song. Looked like she was trying to admit to having feelings, but when I said I liked her back, she said it was just for a TikTok. I told her it was pretty annoying, and then she started saying that she actually did like me and she was sorry. But turns out that was just for her take screenshots and post those too. I don't know if that counts as a prank, but U/UFO. Any of those super dumb pranks that people do to fast food workers. U/Les_Major 3193. Happened to me. At middle school I was very naive, and a boy from my class kept flirting with me, and everybody was pushing me to ask him out. But I was very shy. After a while, he asked me to be his BF during gym class. And all of my girl friends from class told me to say yes. BC he really liked me and etc. Turns out, after I did say yes, they told me that it was all a prank. And almost everyone in the class had participated in convincing me that it was real. Just why, man? I had so much trouble in trusting people again. And for years I turned a really brave and tough facade to avoid that ever happening again. Makes me think sometimes about how kids are really the worst. U/Tired 3520. Darren Brown. English illusionist did a TV show a few years ago. Long story short, he convinced a young lad who had got really drunk the night before that he had killed a girl. They set him up so bad. Psychologically, it looked like they had broken this poor lad. To the point where everything they had set up, actors, set, fake police etc., made the lad so convinced that he had killed someone, that he handed himself into the fake police station and admitted to a murder. I'll never forget the one tear trickling down this kid's face in the devastation at what he thought he had done. Then bloody Derren Brown appears from behind a screen like, surprise. Quote, "It was fucking cruel and has stuck with me for a long time. I've actually found a link to it. https u2.be/-astulfoxwok u/the Hildebert. Making someone believe that they have won the lottery and crush their happy feelings afterwards. This is the most cruel thing I can imagine. Making someone really happy and make them realize that it was all a lie. u/octopi blobby. Asking people out on a dare. In like 3rd grade we would play Oreo, which was where you'd play rock paper scissors, and if you lost, the victor would dare you to ask someone out as a prank. If they said yes, you'd tell them you lost at Oreo, meaning the date was void. My first crush had to ask me out on a dare, and it was so awful because it was a moment I replayed over and over. u/Zwitterian76. A group of students in my high school wrote up and passed around an unofficial page of senior superlatives before graduation. The popular kids got named neutral, good things like, most likely to own a tech company, or first to get $1 million. Unpopular kids got ugliest, or most likely to die in prison, or most cowardly. I was most unfuckable. In hindsight, I'm not sure if it really was a prank or just a bunch of really mean-spirited people. Edit. To those asking, I got sexually assaulted in college, but I've never had consensual sex. Maybe it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm older than you probably think. I've worked hard and gained a modest level of success through my career. Don't know if a relationship will ever happen for me. Edit 2. Clenched fist to everyone who catches the chemistry reference. Edit 3. I do hope to have a relationship someday. It's a strange and scary idea for me, yes. I tend to build emotional walls and not put myself out there as a result of this. Yes. I've had therapy. I really do have a good life. I have friends. A decent career. I travel a lot. I'm not confident enough for online dating. I've tried it. And otherwise I'm just trying to live the best life I can. u/Hayatstoza. In high school, someone made a pipe bomb and sneakily threw it into a metal trash can. One of my friends unknowingly walked by when it exploded and blew out his eardrum. The trash can looked like a peeled banana afterward. That person was ratted out and expelled. Edit. Kid was arrested afterwards. Saw him 10 years later working at a car wash. All of this happened in 1997. u/stick with Plan B. Demi Lovato paid a prostitute to sexually assault one of her employees as a prank. u/friendly all-term. Russian YouTuber was arrested after locking his pregnant girlfriend outside in Russian winter. Wearing only her underwear. She died of hypothermia right on their balcony. u/chili mayo. I was a huge Led Zeppelin fan growing up. And obviously my dad knows this. One day I got a message from him saying he had just met Robert Plant in a shop and Plant had invited me to come sit in for a studio session. I was naturally super excited and told some of my friends about it. I couldn't wait. An hour later, my dad told me he had made it all up. He's done worse things, but this one still cuts deep because of how mean-spirited and unnecessary it was. u/moderate_extremist. We had a roast for my buddy in college that was supposed to be a lot of fun. My roommate decided to go after his ex-girlfriend the entire time during his speech instead of our buddy. Which is a kinda funny concept. It ended up being a drunken therapy session for him where he aired out all the most personal aspects of their relationship to a room of 50 people. He ended the speech by throwing multiple pairs of panties she left at his house into the crowd. She was so mortified she called the police. Most awkward party ever. Peter the Piper OMG. My cousin's uncle gave his gay nephew knee pads for Christmas and all 45 gathered family members barely chuckled while him and his boyfriend stood there with a sad look on their faces. Lydie the Squiddy. I remember seeing a video where they switched the pregnancy test to a fake positive one on their friend, struggling with infertility. Fucked up. Jubilee 2006. I saw a prank on YouTube where the whole family pretended they were dead. YouTube can be a bit messed up sometimes. Nigar the girl who hid her boyfriend's wheelchair on YouTube. That shit wasn't funny. CORCOC4TL4DY. A senior coworker told a new coworker to shut down his computer and that the manager wanted to talk to him. Made him think he was getting fired. The guy took it well, but he actually did end up getting fired months later. JKG 1,819,213. In middle school I was not popular at all. I was an overweight girl with acne and a really weird personality. Popular boys would come up to me all the time to ask me out only to laugh in my face no matter their answer. It happened so often that all the other students started to notice and ignore me completely, so they didn't get grouped into all the cruel joke the boys pulled. /mygrew_sritum. My so-called friends had my mom drop me off at a mall and we hang out until nearing my bedtime. Mind you, this was back when there were pages. For the generation that grew up with smartphones. Back before cell phones, where something everyone had there used to be a pager. So I asked my friends when we are going back home, cause my mom has talked to their mothers about someone dropping me off home. My parents both worked. Anyways, they decided to tell me that their mom will pick 'em up from this door and I should go ahead of them. They left and I was a 12-year-old lost kid in a mall with no parent. Luckily one of the male school bullies saw me and was like, "Oi nerd, what you doing late?" and I just broke down crying. Kid just dropped the bullying and went, "Oi oi oi, what happened?" And according to my parents I just blabbered everything IJT, and he told me to wait till he found a phone and paged my dad while calling his mom and telling her what happened. Needless to say, they got a frantic father going, "What the hell happened?" and the girls said they told their mom that I saw my uncle and left with him. But to be honest, me and the bully became best of friends. Edit. My parents thought I was kidnapped when they called my uncle, who said he hasn't been on shift in that area. U/Casey_88. I have no idea what radio station this was on, as I was only a kid. But they used to do prank phone calls. I have little to no recollection of many of them except this one. As even as a kid I could tell it was just wrong. The radio host rang up a woman and advised that he was the manager of her husband's company and he was very sorry to tell her that he had been involved in an accident with some heavy machinery and it had resulted in his death. As you would expect, the woman was beside herself with being told her husband had just died. She was wailing on the phone and the radio host couldn't really get another word in to explain it. Was a joke. And then they just cut off the phone call and played a song. Even as a kid I knew it was a really stupid and cruel idea. And I'm pretty sure that was the last time they did a prank phone call. U/Sky_YTX. When I was in primary. It was the last day of my school before I graduated and I got to school early. I thought I was first to enter the class since it was dark, but when I entered, half of my classmates jump scared me. My classmates all knew I had a weak heart and difficulty breathing. So after the scare I fell to the ground and had trouble breathing and was crying. My friends laughed at me and called me a crybaby and just walked away. Till this day I distance myself from my classmates and always have earphones in so I don't hear people scaring me. Currently in uni. U/Pennyfleck333. My husband gave me a fake lottery ticket with win results of $50,000. I scratched it off, not knowing it was fake. Saw the results and walked over to him. Handed him the ticket and said, "This is for you." Then he had to confess his cruel joke. Never got a thank you for being a stand-up person. Jerk. U/blue_og_46. I may have conducted the most cruel prank without even meaning to. While in high school, once a month or so there was a half day on a Friday. It was posted and scheduled in advance. My friend and I liked to remind each other in the halls loudly that it was half day. When it wasn't the right week, people would get excited and happy, then after lunch they'd see me and remind me that I was in. Asshole for getting their hopes up. Priceless and a harmless prank. One week we did this and I guess the right people overheard. A few kids' parents were bus drivers. They called their parents to remind them it was a half day. Somehow it snowballed and at 11:30 buses had parked out front of every school in the district and they had to cancel the other half of the day because the bus service drivers were pissed to find out they had to cancel their plans for no reason. Principal called me and my friend to the office and said he knows it's our fault. But no one fact-checked it and so it wasn't really our fault. He smiled and sent us on our way to enjoy our half day. U/Bigger Chief. Bunch of roommates. When one went on vacation. Changed the locks and plastered over the door of his room. When he came back they pretended not to know him. Denied he ever lived there. And when he wanted to show them his room there was just a blank wall where the door used to be. They kept this up for 3 days. U/DreadAngel1711. Remember that kidnapping prank that really kickstarted this whole trend of fucking cruel shit? That one. By far. U/Pinkflower200. Not the cruelest, but I had a coworker call and tell me that my services were no longer required. I believed it for a minute. I started getting upset on the phone and my coworker realized she needed to fess up and tell me it was a joke. I didn't find it funny. This incident happened a long time ago and I didn't do anything about it. If this incident happened today, my coworker would be explaining her actions to our U/Gref du Foie. Brother-in-law is former army. Did his time but can be called back for a few years. Works with several other former military people. He'd been home about a year. Built his house and adopted a cat. Bought a car and got all set up for his life. Asshole co-workers got a hold of a recall letter and Photoshop it with BIL's information and sent it to him. So he gets this official-looking letter from the army recalling him. He's freaking out because what's gonna happen to his house? Who's going to care for his cat? Just really upset as anyone would be. Then they point out that his reporting officer is Mickey Mouse or something stupid they put in there. He was fucking pissed for a while. As he should have been. Fucking assholes. Max Malone. Planting someone's face on the cake on their birthday. If that happened to me on my birthday. Regardless of what day it is. You bet violence will ensue. Queen Hippolyta's. The Lebrant family vloggers told their 5-step daughter a few years ago that they were going to have to get rid of their dog because it wasn't behaving well around the baby as an April's Fool joke and posted it on YT. Joey Lucia. I put meatballs in the chute for the ice maker so when my roommate went to get some ice his glass filled up with meatballs. Shot ski by myself. I think it was on an Opie and Anthony episode where they bought a homeless guy a cake and then stomped it in front of him. Fuck those guys. Even if it was staged. It's a really shitty thing to put out into the world. Especially as humor. Ryugoju 163. Pouring water on strangers. JMEL 79. My ex-wife. Before we were exes. Left me a voicemail on April Fool's Day breaking up with me and saying that she's filing a divorce. And staying with her parents and won't be home when I get there. I didn't realize it was April 1st. She then proceeded to go into meetings for the rest of the day. And completely forgot about it. Therefore completely ghosted my calls, emails, and texts trying to figure out what the fuck was going on. She thought it was funny. She is also a major cunt and if I were smart and knew what I know now, I would have been thankful and used that as my chance to get the fuck out of there. The best atheist. When I was in high school a group of football players told this unpopular guy on the team that a super popular and attractive girl was really interested in him. She played along and got him to handcuff himself to a chair. Naked. So she could come into the room and do naughty things with him. Turns out, this was an elaborate prank, and as soon as he was cuffed to the chair, the football players who tricked this guy ran into the room and took pictures and made fun of him, calling him all manner of bad names and shaming his member size, etc. A couple weeks later the guy who cuffed himself to the chair committed suicide. Like 1 month before graduation. Rip Joe. Fuck you Nathan. None. Removed. Boople Snoot 88. This isn't as bad as most of these pranks, but here goes. I was visiting a friend at his apartment when I noticed a really pretty vintage chair next to the dumpster and fell in love. I was insanely poor at the time and jumped at the opportunity to have a nice chair for my shitty apartment. I asked my friend if I could store it at his place for the night because I couldn't fit it into my tiny beater car. He said it was fine and helped me bring it to his covered back porch, patio. It was one of those upholstered high-back chairs with the fancy arms. Like a reading chair I guess. I returned the next day with my mother's truck and brought the chair home to clean it up. As I was scrubbing it in the backyard I noticed that it was much dirtier than I'd realized but I spent hours cleaning it anyway. The next time my friends were over I proudly showed him the chair and everyone looked super uncomfortable then burst out laughing. It turns out that my friend's wife disliked me and convinced a bunch of the guys to piss all over the chair the night I left it at their apartment. They thought it was hilarious that I'd spent so long cleaning it with my bare hands and how funny it was that I would put trash in my house. Obviously I didn't find it very funny and we are no longer friends. Jagatambe. Shutting off an apartment's water just for laughs while someone is showering and covered in soap. Sapples84. When I was approximately 14, my mum and dad went out for the night on the 31st of March, leaving me to babysit. Wanting to get an April Fool's on 'em, I left the front door open and convinced my younger brother and sister to hide. Hid the TV and staged a robbery, kidnap. When my mum screamed, I came rushing to fess up, but 24 years later she still claims it was the worst moment of her life. Edgar. At my last office job, they pulled a prank on the newest member of the team by making him think he was fired. One of the VPs of the company was in on it and set up a 9 a.m. meeting with him first in the morning. Then some of the other guys packed up his things into boxes and left it on his desk like that for him to find in the morning before his meeting. When I found out about it, I thought it was a bit funny back then. But now that I'm older, I realized just how cruel it was, and the poor guy probably went through a lot that morning. Lady Killer Croft. Ooh, I've got one. When my brother was coming back from middle school, he saw a huge line around the block close to our house. We lived in a metropolitan city. My brother asks a random guy what the line is for. Guy says it's to see the Harry Potter cast. My brother says cool and jumps in the back of the line and waits for almost 2 hours. He gets to the front of the line to find out it was to set up interviews for a job fair. My brother comes back home embarrassed and in tears. I was so mad at the asshole who tricked my kid brother that day. Niquis TJ. The first time I met my brother's new girlfriend, she pulled me aside and started crying. She told me that she was pregnant, but my brother wasn't ready to tell anyone. She asked me to check up on him cause he was really nervous. A couple days go by and I texted her to see how she was doing and if my brother was doing okay and if they needed anything. She asked me what I was talking about. I said the baby. She replied, "Oh, you believed me. I was only joking. I'm not pregnant. I can't believe you fell for that." This wasn't some teenager either. She was approximately 30. Yes, I told my brother. Yes. He still ended up marrying her. Almost 10 years later, I still refuse to trust her. Reasonable avocado. I had a friend who tricked her husband with one of those fake positive pregnancy tests. He felt very strongly about not being ready for kids. But she was getting adamant about things being her way. He was freaking out and she played along with it for a few days, asking everyone in the group to play along. Either one of us or a family member told him she was pranking, which got him so upset he almost ended the marriage. I get disagreements, but there are better ways to discuss having kids than by playing a malicious prank. It's caused him to not trust her and she blew up on the rest of us for exposing her. Fun times. Ripped on knots. When I was in high school, the group of popular girls would play pranks on each other by finding some weird-looking autistic acting guy, the weirder the better, and tell him that one of their friends liked him and that he should go up and talk to her at a certain time when they were all together so they could laugh at their friend's reaction to it. One of these girls wasn't very subtle with her humor and just straight up shoved the guy into her friend when he walked up to her so he'd fall into her and embarrass himself. Cloud Disturber. A good friend of mine worked at a tool rental company. There was one coworker that always bummed cigarettes and never paid them back. My friend witnessed a different coworker dip a cigarette in gasoline and let it dry out. He gave it to the kid the next time he asked for a smoke. He incurred a great deal of brain damage and never recovered from it. Still sickens me to think of it to this day. No longer friends with the guy that observed but ignored the prank. Edit. I wish I knew the outcome and could say the victim eventually recovered. Unfortunately, as to my understanding, it dealt permanent damage to his brain and he was in a near vegetative state. This was early 2000s. Over 15 years ago. Maggie Mayday. I had to go to a youth church group on Wednesday evenings. And was fairly new to the neighborhood. The group I was in held a surprise birthday party for one of the girls one evening. Mine was 2 weeks later. I got delayed in the chapel by the teacher. And when I reached the classroom, the door was closed and the lights off. Lots of whispering and shushing. I was very excited. I went in, turned on the lights. Nothing. Lots of suppressed laughter as I tried not to cry. To make things worse, the mothers made the girls have a party for me in one of their homes a few days later. I didn't want to go to basketball practice, but Mom made me. Most of the gifts were obviously things they didn't want. None were new. And Mom wondered why I despised him and preferred my own company. Skyescaper33. Some YouTubers making a video of themselves throwing water balloons with disinfectant alachol in them at some old homeless dude who didn't wear a mask. Masks save lives, but fuck those guys. PGP key 420. 20 years ago, a friend of mine was prank kidnapped on Halloween, driven to a cornfield and left tied up and blindfolded for an hour. Was not funny. The friends that did this actually got some time in prison. Drakenfur. My mom's good friend had a daughter who was a senior in high school. She was the perfect girl. Got good grades. Didn't drink. Volunteered. Was pretty so and so forth. She was actually a really nice person. She just didn't feel the need to rebel like most kids. She went to a party with lots of booze and drugs and didn't do any of it. She walked around with a Coke can. Some of her friends decided she was too stuck up for her own good and needed to loosen up. They figured if they could show her what she was missing, she would join them. So when she went to the bathroom, they slipped something in her drink. She ended up in a coma for over 10 years. Brain dead. Until her body finally gave out. Her parents paid for private care all that time in hopes she would eventually wake up. Before you ask, no, they never found out what was slipped into the drink. They tested the Coke can. But who know if it was really the one she was drinking out of? And declared it was a rare reaction to presumably a street drug or possibly a stolen prescription drug. The friends did not seem to know what they had actually slipped her. Thought it would just be something to loosen her up. One got it from someone who got it from someone who got it. You get the picture. Fucking completely ruined a beautiful life just because she didn't act exactly the way they wanted her to. Edit. Because several asked. No, I never did find out what, if anything, happened to the kids who did it. This was around 35 years ago and things were often kept hush-hush. I can imagine even more so in this case since it was an affluent area and a lot of kids drinking and doing drugs at someone's house. Most of what I know I heard the varioed adults talking. I was a very quiet child and it was not unusual for them to not notice I was there. Hell, the doctor started talking about stuff while we were visiting her in the hospital. But I never did find out about the kids. We moved away about a year later and I did ask my mom some years later about it, but she didn't know either. friendly all-term. Remember reading a post an older woman's husband had just died and it was going to be here first. Xmas without him. It was extra hard because Xmas was her absolute fave holiday and she always went all out. Her adult children and their spouses came over. True to form, the mom had decorated the whole house and cooked a huge meal. IRC they did a sort of secret Santa where each person gets a gift for one other person. The newest spouse, who was the BF of the youngest daughter, IRC decided to get the mom only a $2 Beanie Baby or similar. Everyone laughed and waited for him to present the real gift. That was the real gift. So on this woman's first Xmas without her husband after slaving away, she was given only a Beanie Baby. Apparently the mom never went all out for Xmas again. U/remarkable_gas_305. A girl put a used tampon in a guy's backpack. He was just a religious dude. He was super nice. Didn't it all deserve that? Fuck you, Stacy. U/Saturn_is floor gang. This girl on TikTok got cheated on, so she went to the other girl's work with important undocumented hard work and she erased it all. U/Mox44R. Prank war going on in between two houses that were next to each other in San Diego. CA circa 2014. My cousin lived in one of the houses and this happened when I went to visit him a few years back. House number 1 pulled a prank that led to a member in house number 2 being late for his first day of work. It was collateral damage, but the guy ended up getting fired for it. Guy who lost his job came home furious. He then took a 15-pound medicine ball and painted it to look just like a soccer ball. He tossed the medicine ball into the front yard of house number 1 and waited. When he saw the guy come out of the house, he yells, "Hey, Josh, can you kick that ball back over here?" Dude proceeds to take a running start and square up and kick the soccer ball with every ounce of strength he had. Poor bastard went down almost immediately in tears and screaming. Ended up breaking 3 bones in his right foot. Just brutal. U/emoji looks at Reddit. My first girlfriend put me through these little pranks if I didn't text her often. One time she said she would be moving to my school. Then a week later told me she wasn't and I started to tear up. Another time she told me she had a dead boyfriend that was texting me. Assisted by her sister. Whilst I was swimming in a pool on my best friend's birthday. I remember she did another prank, but I couldn't remember it. These put me through some mental pain. Believe it or not. At least my boyfriend after that was much better than her and didn't do the same thing. U/Blue Falcon Punch. My mother was begging for a dog for years. One Xmas the current stepfather got her a box with holes and fragile stickers on it. It was a stuffed animal. The look of pure joy to almost instantly turn to tears. She locked herself in the bedroom for the rest of the day. He looked at me like I was gonna help. Dude, I got socks. Help has more green on it. She got a puppy a few weeks later that followed him around. U/Nictomanica. I have a very bad memory. Thanks to did. So. It takes me a lot of effort to remember things. No matter how big or small. I also can't differentiate real versus false memory a lot of the time. An ex-friend decided to pull a long prank on me. By telling me, that didn't happen. You're misremembering. Every time I mentioned something we'd done. I eventually began doubting myself to the point that I checked into a psychiatric hospital. Out of concern for my own safety. It took him 2 weeks after I got out to fess up. after nearly 6 months of doubting the little memory I do have. Suffice to say, I don't speak to him anymore. Edit. For anyone wondering, DID is short for dissociative identity disorder. And you can learn more about it on Healthy Multiplicity's YouTube channel. Captain Kirk 124. That one prank from like 10 years ago pranked his friend that his best friend was killed in front of him. Her YouTube 2011 was a different breed. Polywambus. In high school some guys paid a dude to pretend that he had a crush on my friend for a week. They started talking and she actually told him a lot of personal stuff. Then when the week was over they gave him the money right in front of her. Told her it was a prank. Laughed. Then he told everyone her personal shit. She actually changed schools because of it. Breath came. Telling the new vet tech assistant that you have to stand directly behind the dog while doing anal gland expressions. The supervisor got mad at us when she puked. Though. Anonymous Buthy. You know that thing where someone, especially women, get their friends to send provocative pictures to their partners. I was on a FaceTime call with 2 of my friends. I will call them Annie and Sarah. Annie has a boyfriend named, let's say, James. Annie is a relatively insecure person. Which is fine. So Annie asks me if I'd send James a flirtatious text, along with a picture. I say no for a few reasons. He has shown no sign of cheating. I have more self-respect than that. And James is a personal friend of mine. So when I say no, Sarah says she'd do it. Sarah pops on a tight tube top and short shorts. She sends him a Snapchat saying, "Hey babe," with 3 periods. He opens it and has no response for a couple minutes. James calls me. Not Annie. Me. I answer after lying to my friends, saying my mom called. He tells me he's flustered and confused. Of course Annie asked me to do it for a reason. I'm friends with James. Sarah and him hardly talk to each other. I don't tell him what was going on. At first. After maybe 10 more minutes of him being upset, I tell him I never wanted to be involved in the first place. And that I was sorry. The fact is, I've seen this happen on multiple occasions. Sometimes guys did flirt back. I know there are crueler pranks out there. But I've seen the first-hand. Say what? I wasn't there. But one year my Phil gave away fake lottery tickets at a Christmas party. One guy really thought he had won $10,000 and was crying about how that saved him only to learn it wasn't real and now everyone knew he was broke. Just the worst.